There are more than 7,000 different varieties of apples around the world. And apples are grown in every single part of the world except for the Arctic Circle up near the North Pole and of course Antarctica, the South Pole. Otherwise they're grown everywhere around the world. 7,000 different varieties. They are the world's most favorite fruit. More apples are eaten than any other type of fruit. So today what we're going to do is we're going to draw 6 different types of apples, and we're going to get a chance to cut them up and taste test each one.
So what we're eventually going to get done is we're going to get all 6 apples that we've got up here drawn. But we're going to start off with the first one, the top corner up here. This is our red delicious apple. It's red. In fact, it's red everywhere. There's no green or yellow or any other colors in there. By the way, we always know apples too because they're often labeled with the name on it. But the neat thing about this red delicious is the shape of it. So when I look at the shape of this apple, it's not a perfect round flat apple. It's kind of got these 4 little feet on the bottom. It's kind of skinnier on the bottom and rounder at the top. So hang on there, Avery, because before we start drawing, we got to see what we're drawing. I'm not going to ask you guys today to take a red crayon, draw a round circle, and color it in red. I'm going to ask you to draw this apple. So to draw this apple, I have to do this. I have to say, well, this apple, Mr. C, is rounder at the top and skinnier towards the bottom, and it kind of has these funny little legs on it, like that. That's what my red delicious looks like. It's not a round apple. It's fat at the top, skinnier on the bottom. But it is a red apple, so I know that coloring it in, and I'll try my best to color inside the lines, coloring it in, it is red. I don't have to worry too much about labeling it because I've already labeled it as a red delicious. And I said you might want to bring a green along in case you want to maybe do a leaf on it. Maybe a little brown stem where the branch would have been. By the way, the stem is the branch, and down here on this bottom part, that's where the flower was. So right there on the bottom of the apple, that's where the flower was, where it bloomed. The apple grew behind the flower that was here. The stem is where it was attached to the tree. All right, guys, so this is our first apple. It's our red delicious. You can see by the shape of it. Those funny feet on the bottom, nice and fat on the top. It's all nicely washed. This is our apple cutter. So the center part, the circle, goes right where the stem is. We're going to push down nice and hard. Let's put our microphone here so we can hear it. You guys ready? Was that a crunchy apple?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was crunchy as well. So there's our core right in the center. This is the part that we don't want to eat because the seeds actually hide inside of there. There's always 5 seeds in an apple. And of course this part's all tough and we can't eat the stick that's the tree branch, right? So that part comes out. And then we've got our 8 pieces here. So those are all nicely cut up with my knife. And we'll make sure everyone gets 1 piece. So for the golden delicious apple here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my apple maybe a little bigger on the top than I will on the bottom, but not much. And it's going to be yellow. And if you look really carefully, you can also see it's not all yellow. There is a little bit of green, and there's even little dots on it. Can you see those little dots? I'll hold it real still. You can see those little dots all over it. Yeah, that's part of the apple. So I'm going to color my apple in yellow. But I think I'm also going to take my green and add just a little bit of a shade of green to it. Not much. And I'm going to add some little dots all over it. And I think same thing too. Yeah, I might add a stem to mine. And maybe a leaf on mine. And there's my golden delicious. So this one's the yellow delicious. This is the one, guys, remember, it's yellow. It's got those little spots all over it. We did it in our drawing. Let's take our cutter. This one's a little bit wobbly. It's sitting a bit on the end, so I'm going to try and put the center part right over the core. We'll get our microphone lined up.
That was a big one.
Crunchy, maybe not as crunchy as the red, but certainly crunchy. Look at the inside of this one, though. It's got almost a little bit of a yellowy green glow to the inside. It's not as white as that red delicious one. So I'm going to take these 8 pieces apart, cut them in half. We'll come around and you'll get a little taste test to see what the yellow or golden delicious tastes like. There's our core right there. Again, we can't eat this part because that's where the seeds are inside. It's where the stem is. That little bit at the very end, by the way, that's the flower. The leftover bit of the flower. When the flower bloomed, the fruit grew behind this part of the flower after the flower died off. All right, let's just show that one more time. So the MacIntosh apple, a little more squishy, lots of green, lots of red on it. So when I draw this one, I'm going to draw an apple that's more this shape, right? More that shape. I'm going to add lots of red to it. But I'm also going to add probably just as much green to it as well. I can spot this apple because it's a red and green apple, and because of that sort of squishy shape that it has. So when I go ahead and draw my Mac, make sure you're definitely putting reds and greens in this apple. Not just red, not just green, both colors. And again, I think I might add my stem and maybe a nice leaf. Testing it. Let's listen to it and see if it's a crunchy apple the way the other ones were. So again, I'm going to put my circle right over top of the stem because I want to get the core out of this apple. I don't want to eat the core. You ready? Ooh, big crunch. All right, there's our 8 pieces. One of the things I noticed about MacIntosh apples is that they're red and green on the outside, but when you look at the inside, there's also a bit of green color to this white. It's not as white as the red delicious. It's not as whitish yellow as the golden delicious. This one has more of a green color to the inside. There's our core that we don't want because, of course, it's got the apple seeds right in there. There's the core apple seeds in there.
Okay, so we're ready to draw our next apple. This one is called the Fuji apple. And the Fuji apple is our largest of our 6, and it's more of a pinkish red color. When I compare it to, say, the red delicious, you can see how much of a darker red the red delicious is and how much more pink this one is. Also, look at all the little white spots. So when we do our drawing, it's going to be a large round apple, pinkish red. We'll try and add those spots in as well. Here we go. Let's start with our shape. Really big compared to the other apples. Very round. We'll get that red and pink. We'll use like a yellow to try and get some of these little dots in here. And I'll add my stem. Maybe stick a leaf in there too. And there we've got our Fuji apple.
Okay guys, so this is the Fuji apple. This is the biggest of our 6 apples that we have. This is the one that's that pinky red. Let's get nice and quiet and listen to the crunch factor, as I call it. So this one doesn't have a stem on it. The stem seems to be missing the branch, but I can center this right over the core. You ready? Here it goes. Listen to the crunch. Look at the inside. It's much yellower than any of the other apples. Very yellow inside, not bright white like the Red Delicious was. You can really see the seeds there.
Okay, our next apple is the Granny Smith. This is the green apple. Look how green that is. I've added those little dots in there. Get our stem. And our leaf. And there's our Granny Smith apple.
This is a little bit of a wobbly apple. Sometimes apples don't sit up perfectly straight, and when you use a core like this, you sometimes have to hold the apple in place so that you don't end up cutting it on an angle, but you have to be careful with your hands. All right, you ready? Crunch factor, let's listen to how loud it is.
That was a big crunch.
Big crunch, very big crunch, hard to push through. It has a bit of a green color inside. Again, it's a little bit greenish looking inside.
Okay, we're down to our last apple. This one's known as the Royal Gala. Again, it's a smaller sized apple, rounder apple. But one of the things we really notice with this one is how much red and yellow there is. This is truly a red and yellow apple compared to the red and green apple of the MacIntosh. So let's draw this one. So I'll start with my red and give it that smaller sized apple shape. We're also going to add that yellow. This one's got a nice big stem. And there's our Royal Gala.
Center the core. Oop, that's got a nice long branch stem there. Put that right over. You ready? It was crunchy, but it wasn't as crunchy as the other ones. And I got it through pretty easily. Yeah, look at the inside. It's a little bit more of that yellow color again. Not that green, not that bright white like the Red Delicious. A little bit yellow. Kind of like the MacIntosh was a little bit green, being a red and green apple. This one's a little yellow, being a red and yellow apple. So look there, guys, you can really see that seed chamber. They call that a seed chamber because it's a hollow spot where the seeds fit right in. And we know that apples have 5 seeds in them and 5 chambers.
So we've shown so far how to cut apples up into 8 pieces by using our apple core or using a knife to cut it this way. But there is another way to cut an apple. And if you cut it on its side very carefully, what you can do is you can create an apple cut that will show what we call the apple star. And inside you can see those 5 little arms, the apple star, and that's actually the seed core and where the seeds are hiding inside here. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and five seed cores where the seeds are hiding. And we know because of these 5 seed cores, apples are related then to roses, because roses also have a 5 seed chamber. That's the apple star cut. And by the way, we know that pears are the cousins to apples. They're related. If we were to cut a pear open, we would also see that seed chamber in there. There it is. Same kind of seed chamber, but in a pear.